Hi, everybody. We are continuing our Bible study about Joseph's life. And as you can see, it's an explosion of dreams in his life about other people and lands and all that. And this one is just Joseph and Pharaoh's dream. We found in Genesis 41, verse 1 to 40. So we recap from the previous Bible study. We learn about Joseph um, that interpreted the dream of cupbearer and the baker. And it happened exactly how he interpreted for them. And the cupbearer was restored, and Joseph asked him if it would be kind of him to tell Pharaoh about him, that he is innocent for what he's in there for, and to get him out from the dungeon. But the cupbearer forgot. As soon as he got into his position, he was happy. He forgot. The other one died, as the dream was saying. So Joseph is still in prison. Okay, so let's dive in. So we are in chapter 41, and we have in first verse, Pharaoh's dream. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. I say this is not by coincidence. When 2 full years passed, so Joseph had to stay 2 more years. Why? To make sure God got him, molded him, prepare him for what is going to be. So he's still in prison, helping everybody else there. So he had to learn and master all these skills before he'll be placed to somewhere else. So that's why he was not placed immediately. God had more for him. So Pharaoh's dream was he was standing by the Nile, is a river. When out of the river, as you say in the pictures, it shows in the pictures, came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, like very well rounded, very big cow, sleek and fat, and they graze among the reeds, which pretty much they had that in Egypt. They used to see those, in Egypt, and they ate cows. After them, verse 3, 7 other cows, ugly and gowned, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those on the river bank, as you can see there. And the cows, so were like very skinny, but not skinny. They will be like you can see the ribs out of them. It's so bad, ugly, skinny they were. And the cows that were ugly and gowned ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. So this was that. And God gave Pharaoh the dream. He could give to Joseph the dream, but had to give to somebody in a high position. And Pharaoh was the highest in position. And those dreams, when it's given by God, specific dreams with they give even like what to do, nobody can interpret. Like those magicians, whenever they call it, they will not be able to interpret. It's hidden from them because had to be the one to interpret. Let's go next page. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of grain, healthy and good, were growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads of grain sprouted, thin and scorched by the east wind. Well, they look like very bad, very thin. The thin heads of grain swallow up the 7 healthy food heads. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. So he had two different dreams, one after another. Okay. And it's about the same thing, but he was a little bit horrified. What I means, when God gives you a dream that he's talking to you through the dreams, you will know it. And not just that, you will know what's about the dream. And if you don't know, somebody may know and they may help you out, but it's bothering you, it's burning you inside out. You want to know what it meant, and what it means, that you want to prevent things to happen, or it's for good, it's for bad, what is going on. Maybe he was so horrified because they never had seen such ugly cows in Egypt. They were very wealthy, very well maintained of animals and all that. Let's move on. Verse 8. In the morning, his mind was troubled. Yeah. Imagine now, you see in the pictures, like those big fat cows were eaten by the skinny one, like more like a skeleton. Even though they were they were eating the big ones, they were still skinny. And he knew that was something else. And he wanted, with any price, he wanted to know what it meant. The morning his mind was troubled, so he sent. Remember that he was with Daniel? The same thing, like Nebuchadnezzar was troubled with his dreams, is the same thing here. With Joseph, in Joseph's life, the Pharaoh was troubled in his mind. And he's like Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar living in Babylon, and Pharaoh living in Egypt. Two different countries, two different nations, but different people, different things to deal with. So, and as it was meant to be, God gave Pharaoh dreams for the upcoming years to know. So he sent for magician and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dream, but no one could interpret them for him. Why? Because they were hidden from there. God will reveal only to God's people. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, today I am reminded of my shortcomings. So he, all of a sudden, like he forgot for 2 years. But all of a sudden, he remembered. Now he want to get better with the Pharaoh, with the king of Egypt, with Pharaoh. He want to get better. And he's like, oh yeah, now I remember. Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard. Each of us had a dream the same night, and each dream meant a meaning of its own. Now a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was impaled. So all of a sudden, God give the cupbearer like a bulb of, like it says, they have an idea, you have like a light bulb in his head to remember about Joseph. Why? This was Joseph's time to be restored, where God already told him years ago this was his time. So everything now looks like it's going to work in his favor. Verse 14. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. Dungeon sounds very, very bad. Dungeon is when bad people are kept in the darkness, cold, in suffering, with no food. It sounds very bad, but as this word they had, the name, today we call it prison, but that time was dungeon. Very deep in, under the ground somewhere. When he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. He is not just, he has wisdom, he's intelligent. he shaved himself. The Bible mentioned it, that he would look decent. Imagine in danger so many years, he didn't even know how he looked and how he was. But to present himself to Pharaoh, he changed his clothing, he shaved to look decent, to look like a more like a nice, good human being. It's what you do when you go for an interview. You should, put nice clothing, shave, if you are like a man, but woman make your hair a little bit looking good, professional. So he knew his time had come. So, verse 15, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. And verse 16, I cannot do it. So he doesn't want to take credit on himself. That, oh yeah, sure, I can interpret any dream, But he says, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires. He puts God first. He put like, I'm just under God protection. And he got to that stage being in prison or being like, sold prison, like in the Potiphar's, and then in prison, he changed. He puts God first. And he say, it's not that I know how to interpret, it's God who will interpret for Pharaoh. Because he want to say that I don't have no attributes and nothing if God is not with me. Wow. So he's coming from very low, humble man. He's humble. He is simplistic, and in this way, he pretty much gives God control. It's not him doing it; it's God doing things through him. I think God got him exactly where he wanted him to be, and he is. Verse 17. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, in my dream I was standing on the bank of the Nile, which everybody knew was a river. When out of the river, then there came up 7 cows, fat and 6 oysters. Exactly the dream that we already know. And they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows came up, scrawny and very ugly and lean, which would be like very, very skinny. I never seen such ugly cows in all the land of Egypt. And he was right. The lean, ugly cows ate up the 7 fat cows that came up first, but even after they ate them, no one could tell that they had done so. They looked just as ugly as before. Then I woke up. Now the second dream. When God gives you 2 dreams about the same thing, maybe a little bit twisted with different like cows, grains, it's for sure is going to happen. When you have maybe one dream after another and it's about the same thing, or maybe it's the same dream, God for sure tells you that is going to come to pass. Or maybe have like visions. The same is about the same thing. God talks to you differently than others, or talks to us differently. Each one have dreams and have visions. We can have visions, but if it comes twice the same concept, then for sure God said it is going to happen. No matter what you're going to do, it is going to happen. Verse 22, in my dream I saw 7 heads of grain, full and good, growing on a single stalk. After them 7 other heads sprouted, withered, and thin and scorched by the east wind. The thin heads of grain swallow up the 7 good heads. I told this to the magicians, and none of them could explain it to me. Wow. Now Joseph coming to his place. Look at that. Wow. Wasn't God preparing him for this time? Yes. With the dreams, with the skills, with everything, being humble, Where can you be more down than dungeon? Where? But he became, because of that, he became very humbled. All right, look at the dreams. Wow, that doesn't look right at all. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one and the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh that he's about to do what he's about to do. God told Pharaoh, but he uses Joseph for the interpretation and for the rest. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years, which is the same dream. It is one and the same dream. The 7 lean, ugly cows that came up, so they come after them. That's why, like 7 years, and then after the big fat cows comes the lean one, the skinny ones comes after. And that came after are 7 years as well, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. There are 7 years of famine. Okay, so 7 years they always had Egypt. They were like rich, rich, rich. And he's talking about 7 years. Those are the fat cows. There's going to be 7 years of wealth, but they always had, so that was not a problem. But after 7 years will come famine, 7 years. Okay? And because Egypt had no idea how to deal with famine, but the one who was a shepherd was tending the sheep of his father, helping, serving the brother, being a good steward, listening to his father, and through the problems and like managing, doing like pretty much management in Potiphar's house, counting what has to be done, what is to be out, what is to come in, all these managing things. And I would say like manager, like managing like what has to be bought and sold and all that. He learned in Dajan, learn more to be humble, to help others no matter what they do. Probably some they were sick, he was attending everybody over there. So he knew from the struggle, and then now he tells the solution. What God gives him the revelation. It's not just a dream. Okay, 7 cows, 7 years of goods and everything that you want and you want to have, and 7 years of famine. Pharaoh didn't know how to handle it. He would never had that situation, that problem. So by revelation of God, Joseph gives Pharaoh what to do. Verse 29, 7 years of great abundance are coming through the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God and will do it soon. God will do it soon. Immediately. I will say immediately starts 7 years and 7 years. Okay. Wow. So is verse 33. And now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. So Joseph, he gives him the solution. He will not be able to give the solution unless God revealed to him. And with all the training he had, he knew exactly what has to be done. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take a fifth of the harvest of Egypt during the 7. He tells you how much. Take a fifth of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. So let them have food, but the fifth of the harvest, put it on the side. he gives a solution. He knows exactly what needs to be done. Wow. Is that God amazing? Wonderful. Wow. This food should be held in reserve for the country to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt. So get like a fifth of each harvest, a fifth um, of each harvest every year for 7 years will be enough for the famine to feed the country. This food should be held in reserve for the country to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. Wow. Woo. God is good, isn't he? Wow. I'm just, I'm still like, God is so amazed to have a God like we have, and we serve a God like him. Wow. He gives you not just the dream, the solution. In all the trouble to come, he has the solution and revealed to his people. It will not reveal to magician and whoever, revealed to his people in the right time. Verse 37, the plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. So Pharaoh asked them, can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God? No, not in Egypt though, no. He was there I would say, by accident? No. He was sent in especially the time like that, even to save Egypt and to save everybody else. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace. Wow! What? From dungeon? And all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. And gives the signet ring, which means that he has power. As he puts that signet ring on things, things will happen. He places it, it's done. Do these like envelopes with, with the wax they used to put the signet ring, and everybody see the ring from Pharaoh ring. They have to obey Joseph's order. And that reminds me of him being like, from where God took Joseph to where he is at this time. It clicks in my mind that David, he was a shepherd boy in his father's house, and God put him a king over whole nation of Israel. And now Joseph, he didn't be a king in his nation, but got him out of there to put him a king to a different nation. That's why neither the father, neither the brothers would not believe like he will be above everybody else, because to be above everybody else, like to have a higher position, to be higher in rank, and to be, will not happen while they were alive. But God knew it's not going to be for that nation, it's going to be for different nation, and it's for a nation of Egypt. Wow. God knows. If you are placed in any position, sometimes you're crying, you don't want to be, hang in there. God shape your character, because God has more for you than you ever think. Will get you out of there, will put your feet up on the higher places. Nobody can touch you. I wonder what Potiphar would say at this time, because he's in charge and all that. I wonder when Potiphar sees him like, wow, did I place that guy in the dungeon? Now he is above my head. He's actually like Pharaoh. I wonder what will be. Will the truth be discovered? Maybe yes, maybe no. But he is above and where God wanted him to be. Wow. And it's going to be continued, yes. There's more. Now we want to experience the blessing, what God has for. Now God is going to pour Joseph into a blessing, and he's descendants, a blessing that he never think about, never dream about. But he dream about some kind of blessing. He didn't know exactly how high he's going to get. And we are very wait to see the next teaching. And I enjoy this teaching. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy it. Till next time, I say goodbye. Goodbye now.